It's not about motivation. Winners need discipline. Wake up and win today. Discipline comes from within.
Boxing King Media in association with Boxro, bona fide Sheffield boxing legend, in fact British boxing legend Ryan Rhodes. You've been out of the picture for a while. Nice to see you today.
Yeah, I'm good. Good, great turnout. Always a great turnout when there's a show going on at the arena. Here to support everybody from Sheffield, as well as Steffi Bull's fighters, Terry, Conan and Jimmy Joe.
I know you're going to be helping Steffi out in the corner. I'm going to start with one of the fights that I think could potentially be the best fight of the night. Sandy Ryan, Terry Harper. How do you see this one unfolding? Because they both sparred each other. I think they're kind of on friendly terms, but there's been a bit of back and forth online.
I think there always is a bit of back and forth online. But no, what a fight. What a great fight. Like you said, two girls what have sparred each other. What I hear that the spars have been absolutely fantastic. And I just think this makes a fantastic fight. Terry in a great position. Sandy with a new trainer, been based in America for the last few months. So this fight has got the ingredients to be a great fight.
Do you see it going the distance?
Yeah, I see it going the distance, definitely.
Definitely. What does Terry have to? Because obviously, I don't. In fact, you might be able to tell me this. How much of a difference does it make for her from coming down in weight? Because obviously she went from feather to super welter, and now she's coming down. So does that affect the fighting in any way?
Well, I think because she's only coming down, I think is it one weight category where she jumped up. Was it 3 before? So we all know how Terry struggled to make weight back in the day. Then she jumped up to 3 different weights to win the world title, and now she's jumping down 1. I don't think it'll affect her that much. She makes weight. She looks like she's made weight really comfortably for this. She's trained her absolute backside off for this fight. I've been over at the gym watching sparring, watching training, having my fighters over there sparring over at Steffi's gym, helping the team out. She's in a great place. She's not worried about the weight. She's just in a great place and she's ready to go.
And the main event, your fellow Wednesday fan, Dalton Smith, taking on Zepeda. Obviously, you've been in there with Mexicans before, so you kind of know what these guys bring to the table. Zepeda's not an unknown Mexican. Normally, we've had unknown Mexicans come here and cause upsets. This guy's known and he's a banger. And it's a big step up.
It's the right step up at the right time for Dalton. The guy's boxed for world titles, come up short, but the guy's ready. Dalton is more than ready for this step up. We all know the potential of Dalton Smith. We all know where potentially he can go as in world champion. And I just think this is the right fight at the right time for Dalton, and a great fight against a tough Mexican.
Regis Progress, the only guy to have stopped him. Can Dalton do it?
I think so. The way Dalton is putting his shots together, the power Dalton possesses now is great. I think Dalton's on such a high at the minute. He's flying, and I just think that Dalton will overwhelm Zepeda, and I just think he'll probably get him out there round 8, round 9, round 10.
Big call. Any other fight you're interested in watching on this card?
Jimmy Joe and Campbell, and I think it's a great central area dust up. I was watching a few interviews last week that Ricky Hatton won this title back in the day, in his early days of his career, and I think with his son Campbell going into this fight, going to try and win this area title, I think it's great. But Jimmy Joe is well up for this fight. He's well up for it. He's trained so hard. Again, I've seen him in sparring one of my lads. So I just think it's ready, and I think it's a great fight, great central area dust up.
And just a quick word on your gym and your fighters, anyone who could keep an eye out for, what's next for Ryan Rhodes. I know you've got a show coming up soon as well.
Yeah, so we've got a young lad, Huey Wilson, from Doncaster, 7-0, ready to take that next step up, fighting in his first 6-rounder on our next card on the April the 12th at the Magna Centre. Looking forward to it. It's a great card, some great local fighters on, but Huey Wilson is definitely one to watch out in the future.
Good stuff. It's been a while since I caught up with you, Ryan, so I just want to get your opinion on some of the recent boxing stuff. So AJ and Ngannou, were you surprised how easily AJ won that fight?
I think it was what was supposed to happen. I think when fighters train hard, train well, and dedicate themselves, that's kind of thing what should happen against fighters what aren't necessarily boxers and they come into our sport. We all know Tyson had an off night. Tyson Fury had an off night that night against Ngannou, and AJ went in and did what everybody expected and what AJ should have done. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Do you think that propels AJ to be the best heavyweight? Because Eddie's come out in a few interviews and said, he feels this new AJ beats Usyk in a third fight. Do you see a new AJ, or do you think it's because the fighters he's faced, or do you think the working with Ben Davison has made a massive impact? What do you think?
I think the combination with him and Ben Davis has been an absolute dream. I've always rated Ben Davis as a trainer, and I think when you get in AJ's head, like Ben Davis has, and explained certain things what AJ's probably was unsure of in certain fights and certain occasions, it's just a fantastic combination. So I think the fighters that AJ's fought, and the combination of working with Ben Davis, I think it's been a dream combination.
Can that combination beat Usyk in third fight?
I'd love to see it. The way AJ's been dominating his last 3 fights, I wouldn't say it's unexpected if AJ beats Usyk in that trilogy. I wouldn't be surprised.
What did you make of Ngannou saying that he was made to go to the arena too early, and because of that he had to sit around for an hour and he felt tired? Have you experienced anything like that? Because I know you had a bit of a mad experience when you fought Canelo in Mexico.
Yeah, to be fair, listen, the experience that Ngannou's had, he will have seen that in the UFC. So maybe it's just a bit of an excuse. Maybe I've also read that Ngannou felt really, really sleepy and all stuff like that. Maybe they're just excuses. In boxing, in the UFC, and same as boxing, we will go through so many scenarios that we have to overcome and have to adapt to. So I think if that's one of the excuses, I think it was just an excuse. He will have experienced that in the UFC without a shadow of a doubt.
The last thing I want to speak to you about is Cash Ali and Ryan Rhodes. Cash Ali and Joe Joyce. I don't know if you and Cash would ever...
Big, but I'm not an heavyweight.
No, you're not. I'm sure you and Cash may have crossed paths in the Ingle Gym back in the day. What did you make of his performance? And obviously the narrative that people are saying that Joe was too slow. And there's also an opinion that he's always kind of boxed like that. So I don't know what you thought of it.
So I think Joe Joyce does fight like that. I think him putting that extra weight on, I don't think it made any difference. I think Joe Joyce always fights like that. I do know Cash. I trained Cash for a couple of fights back in the day when he was training with us, probably about 9 years ago. The size of them and the difference, it was so telling. You could see the difference in size, like how big Joe Joyce to how big Cash were. I just think the size overwhelmed Cash. I think he tried that overhand right many, many times. He seemed to bounce off Joe Joyce's head. I just think whatever Cash would have brought to the table, Joe Joyce was just too big for Cash that night.
Does Joe still have enough to compete at the top level?
I'm not sure. I'm really, really not sure. To me, he's taking too many shots. Like, in his last few fights, Zhang, even in his previous fights before that, he takes unnecessary shots what doesn't really need to take. And you're trying to tell him, or you're trying to move your head, get out of the way. You don't have to take these kind of shots, especially at the heavyweight division. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't think he needs to take them shots.
Good stuff. Anything else you want to add, Ryan, before I let you go?
No, I'm excited for this weekend. I think it's stacked from top to bottom. And I'm just glad that, Dalton's flying the flag for Sheffield and keeping big time boxing in Sheffield.
You're only saying that because he's a Wednesday fan.
Up the hills.
Cheers, Ryan. Thank you.
I got a question for you. Where can discipline take you? discipline points you towards your goals.